being away from my kids, my mom, my brothers, and I'm out here all by myself, man.
We are throwing them the hell out of our country. We have no apologies.
Thank you, sir. Please, I beg you, God.
I'm scared for my parents to walk out there. To walk out their house because I might not be able to say goodbye to them if they go to work. I'm scared that everyone that I love is not I'm not going to be able to see them again.
Brazil you're from?
Huh?
We're in Brazil.
Yeah, Paraná.
Paraná?
Yeah, Paraná, yeah. I'm here 24 years.
24 years?
A Brazilian man who lived in the United States for 24 years has been detained in Maryland and is now facing deportation. The case is raising questions about immigration enforcement and whether voluntary.
After over 40 years in the U.S., a Filipino grandmother is being deported this week from O'Hare, and her family fears she could have serious medical issues on the flight. Our Marissa Sulik spoke with them today.
7-year-old Rebecca Pinyard's family tells me she was arrested over 20 years ago for drugs. She did 19 years in prison and was told to check in with the Department of Homeland Security once a year. But when she went to her annual DHS check-in with her documents back in March, her daughter says she was taken into custody.
As soon as they grabbed the documents from her, they said that she was going to be detained.
April Lowe says her mom, Rebecca Pinyard, was rebuilding her life with her husband in North Carolina after being released from prison a few years ago.
She's been active in the church. She donates. She gets up at 4 in the morning and takes walks.
Now, for the last 9 months, she's been transported across the Southeast and is currently at a federal facility in Clay County, Indiana. They say she has a slew of medical concerns, including severe kidney disease, thyroid issues, and uncontrolled blood pressure. On video calls, Pinyard tells her family she has not been given her medications on a regular basis.
It was, very inconsistent. And this is like medication that is really critical for her.
Louise Macareniag is with the Filipino Migrant Organization in Chicago looking at Pinyard's case. Before she is deported on Friday, they are demanding she gets a medical exam not in ICE custody, dialysis, and other medical needs. With no recent medications, they fear Pinyard's flight from O'Hare to the Philippines could be dangerous.
A blood clot can lead to lung damage. A blood clot could lead to even like sudden death.
I will be flying out with my mother.
Lowe says she will be on the 15-plus hour flight with her mom Friday to get her settled. She also says her mom could have fought to appeal her case if she was in a better physical state.
I think she feels like she's between a rock and a hard place. Like, she can't do anything from where she is. She has to rely on us, and my mother's never been that person.
We reached out to DHS about Pinyard's case today and asked if she did receive her medications. We are waiting to hear back. In the newsroom, Marissa Sulik, CBS News, Chicago.
U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement deported a mother and her 4 children, including newborn twins, from Texas to Reynosa, Mexico earlier this month. Cristina Salazar is 23 years old. She was born in Mexico and married her husband, who is a U.S. citizen, in 2019. She and her kids were taken into custody on December 11th. Salazar's husband, Federico Arellano Jr., says he's fighting to get his family back. His wife and 2 older children were awaiting immigration hearings, and that Salazar missed a hearing just a few weeks after having an emergency cesarean section to deliver their twins. Federico says they called the immigration court to let them know that she was recovering from surgery and that the hearing would be rescheduled. Immigration authorities then called the family and told them to meet at a location to discuss their case when Salazar and all 4 of her children were arrested. The twins are U.S. citizens since they were born.
The plan is to get back home, dude. It sucks. Being away from my kids, my mom, my brothers, and I'm out here all by myself, man. Like, I'm stuck on vacation, man. You can have the beaches, you can have all that, man. I'm just trying to get back home. I just want to go back home, man. How much more of American I just because of a piece of paper, I'm not American enough to be home with my kids, It sucks, man. Really messed up situation. But I'm lucky, I'm grateful that at least I'm landed in a spot and everybody's helpful. Things are lining up for me. As far as jobs and whatever, people come up to me for help, anything. I mean, it's there's definitely a lot of opportunity here. Definitely a lot of opportunity here that I'm gonna tap into, and it will. I will eventually get out of this situation now. I'll go back home.
Deportees are trying to start a new life in Tijuana. We met Juan Carlos, who stopped at an LA area Home Depot on his way to his construction job.
En cuanto yo lo miré, yo intenté correr. Yo corrí.
Cell phone video captured his arrest by ICE.
This is me. This is the federal, the ICE. Wow. Los Ángeles me dio muchas cosas. Me dio oportunidades. Me dio otra clase de vida.
Juan Carlos lived in the U.S. for 19 years.
Sentí que era mi casa, pero las cosas pasan cuando tienen que pasar. Aquí tengo un video de un primo que lo miró en Instagram. Ahí donde me tuvieron, está una tienda de Starbucks. Entonces estaba la fila y una persona, yo pienso que me miró y estuvo grabando y lo subió a Instagram.
CBS News found the woman who recorded the apprehension. And in the video, you can hear somebody crying.
That was me crying. I just froze. So with such intense emotion, I couldn't believe my eyes. I just felt for them. I felt for their families. That was the first thing I thought of, is that they're not going to go home to their family at the end of the night. Finding out today that his cousin saw my video and was able to know where his cousin was, that really made me happy, because that was my number one concern, is what is his family thinking? Is his family worried about him? And, you know, I got a lot of backlash online.
He was deported from America after living there for almost 50 years. Instead of being sent home to Jamaica, the U.S. sent him to a country he had never set foot in. Orville Atoria was a Jamaican citizen who had built his entire life in the United States. When immigration authorities moved to deport him, he was not sent back to Jamaica. He was flown to Eswatini in southern Africa, a nation with no connection to his life or his family, as part of a third country removal policy. On arrival, Atoria was stripped of due process and locked inside a maximum security prison, indefinitely, with no clear path home. For 2 months, the Jamaican government pushed through diplomatic channels to secure his release. It worked. Atoria was eventually repatriated back to Jamaica, but only after intense pressure and negotiation, the kind most deportees never get. His case became a warning for what third country deportation can mean in practice. A person with no crime tying them to a country, held indefinitely simply because two governments made an arrangement neither fully explained.
Welcome to Owen Allen Media. Today, a flight carrying the first group of Jamaican deportees under U.S. President Donald Trump administration landed at Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston. Some of these individuals have been processed and released to their families, while others remain in police custody. The fact that some are being held suggests that they have either criminal records or they need further processing before they are allowed back into society. But really and truly, let's talk about what this really means, because not just for people on the plane, but for thousands of undocumented Jamaicans still in the United States. So for many of them, this is their biggest fear. Their worst fear came through. Donald Trump has made his position on immigration very clear from the start. He campaigned on the promise of cracking down on undocumented immigrants, and he is following through with that promise.
For years, many people believed deportation was something that only happened to someone else. They assumed that if they had lived in America long enough, built a career, raised a family, and stayed out of trouble, they had nothing to worry about. Then everything changed. Recent immigration enforcement has reminded many immigrants that policies can shift, priorities can change, and situations that once seemed unlikely can suddenly become very real. Today's discussion isn't about celebrating anyone's hardship. It is about looking at why so many people were caught off guard and lessons that can be learned from these events. Let's get into it.
Today, the Department of Immigration is carrying out another successful repatriation exercise. We have 62 individuals traveling today, 49 males, 12 females, and 1 minor traveling back today. So that is the breakdown of the individuals being repatriated today. And we are doing this in accordance with the laws of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And it's very important for everyone to understand that they must comply with the laws of the Bahamas. So I'm just sending out a clarion call for all individuals who are in breach of our immigration laws to either take steps to regularize their status or voluntarily leave the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I want to assure the public that we are addressing and investigating any allegations of abuse, and there are mechanisms under our law to deal with anyone, any of our officers who are in breach of the law. And so, suffice it to say, there are active investigations, and that is all I can say about that right now.
So 62 Haitians deported back to Haiti from the Bahamas, and that was the immigration minister of the Bahamas, Darren Pickstock, standing in solidarity with his enforcement agents, the immigration enforcement agents, because two Haitian men accused them of mistreating them while in their care. But he said, yeah, we're just going to have an investigation. I'm supporting those officers, and I'm also enforcing the immigration laws in the Bahamas. Either comply or fly. That's what he's saying. Either comply or fly. So he's going to continue to carry out these operations to deport undocumented immigrants. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Once again, Darren Pickstock, immigration minister of the Bahamas, saying comply or fly.
Was there as person after person left Miami's immigration court in tears Thursday. Yanet Correa could not hold back her pain. She screams injustice after her husband was placed on an expedited deportation order after showing up to his immigration check-in in Miami. The detentions are not only creating panic and fear, but Correa's immigration attorney tells NBC6 it's also creating confusion.
When a person enters the U.S. at the border, they decide what law to process you under, and now here in court, they're deciding to process you under a different law.
Immigration court attorney Antonio Ramos tells us this is now the new normal.
What I have been seeing is out of the few people, most of them, they have crimes, previous crimes, and sometimes not even have applied in front of the judge with any application, just an open case. And we have seen just a couple of cases, they have no crime, but the issue was they never filed an application.
One of the biggest reasons people were surprised is because immigration policies often change gradually. For years, communities have accustomed to a certain way of life. Some believed enforcement would remain limited. Others assumed future administration would continue the same policies. Many simply felt that spending years or even decades in the country, they were unlikely to face immigration action. But immigration law does not automatically stay the same. Every administration has the authority to set different enforcement policies, priorities, and those decisions can affect thousands of families. And that is why immigration policy is one of the most closely watched issues in American politics. When enforcement priorities changed, many immigrants suddenly found themselves facing situations they are never seriously prepared for. Some had ongoing immigration cases, others were waiting for application or legal decisions. Some believed temporary protected status or past policies would continue indefinitely. For many families, the uncertainty became one of the hardest parts. Questions about work, housing, children, and future plans suddenly became much more complicated. Regardless of where someone stands politically, it is clear that these situations can have significant effects on real people's lives. Perhaps the biggest lesson from all of this is immigration status should never be taken for granted. Policies can change, governments can change, enforcement priorities can change, and what seemed unlikely today can become possible tomorrow. That is why immigration attorneys and policy experts often encourage people to stay informed and understand their legal options and avoid making long-term assumptions based on current political conditions. Being informed is often better than being surprised. Immigration remains one of the most debated issues in America today, and some people argue that stronger enforcement is necessary to uphold immigration laws and maintain an orderly system. Others emphasize the human impact on families and communities, especially for people who have lived in the country for many years. Three perspectives often lead to passionate debates because they involve legal, economic, and humanitarian considerations all at once. Whether someone supports stricter enforcement or favors broader immigration reforms, most people agree that immigration policy affects millions of lives. One thing is becoming increasingly clear. Assuming that immigration policies will never change can be a risky mindset. The events discussed today serve as a reminder that laws, priorities, and enforcement strategies can evolve over time. What do you guys think? Do you believe people were genuinely caught off guard by these changes, or should they have expected immigration policies to shift over time? Share your thoughts in the comment section below, and kindly remember to keep it respectful. If you love breakdowns like these, hit the subscribe button and join our family. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.